Hi everyone, I'm Wanda Lotus, and I just wanted to do a quick introduction for those of you who don't know me. I live and work in the Bronx in New York City. I'm a musician. I play several different instruments, some better than others. I am a photographer. I am a computer engineer. I'm not currently working in that field, but that is my field of study. And I'm also interested in sociology and just generally interested in society and in people. And as a matter of fact, you can see that in some of my photography. I mainly do street photography, and I focus on photographing people just going about their daily lives, and I celebrate the beautiful normality of everyday life. I know that you've seen the posts that I've been doing for most of today, and they came about from a conversation that I had with a very close, very dear friend. Her name is Serena. Hi, Serena. You can check her out here on Instagram over on Serena Now. And she's one of the co-founders of Kimchi Callaloo and Caribbean Glam. She's very much an influencer and has been very active on social media in various capacities for quite some time. So we were talking yesterday, and I was telling her about trying to find a theme, a common thread between the different experiences that I've had in my life. I mean, even just looking at the things I'm interested in, music, photography, engineering, sociology, to me, all of those things didn't seem to be connected. But when I spoke to Serena, she was able to see a common thread through all of them and the ability to weave them together along with a message that I found very important for myself as I've gone through my 40s and am now approaching my 50s. I turned 49 just a few weeks ago, and quite frankly, I am enjoying very much being at the end of my 40s. My 40s was a very good decade for me, and I'm looking forward to the next decades to come. But anyway, when I was speaking to Serena, the message that has been very important to me going through my 40s is that in spite of the fact that society seems to ignore particularly women, not men so much, but particularly women after we get into our late 30s, and definitely once we get into our 40s, we have a tendency to feel invisible or to feel like we don't have anything to offer. I know that there are a number of women my age who raised children. The children are grown now and in college or in the military, out of the house. Some of them are raising their own families, and they've had a difficult time identifying what they have to offer the world because their identity has been tied up in being a parent for so many years. And it's easy for us to internalize these messages that we get from society about, well, you know, you're over 40. If you haven't really made a big splash in the world by now, then, well, there isn't much that you have to offer, and society really doesn't pay attention to us. But I've discovered, just looking at my own life, that quite frankly, I'm just hitting my stride good. It would have been wonderful if I could have made this huge splash in the world when I was in my 20s. That's how I imagined that my life would be. That's how I dreamed that my life would be. Well, my life didn't turn out that way. And instead, I've had an opportunity to discover who I really am and what I'm really passionate about once I got older and was more independent, was sure of myself. My self-esteem is much healthier now than when I was in my 20s, believe me. And I'm very grateful for all of that time that I spent, particularly in my 30s, getting to truly know who I am. And so I've spent my 40s really walking in who I am and reveling in that. So I wanted to share that same kind of appreciation for myself and what I have to offer with other women who are age 40 and up, women in their 40s, their 50s, their 60s, their 70s. The older we get, if we listen to society, the easier it is for us to think that we have nothing to offer. And I want to encourage all women, especially women over the age of 40, that there are three very important things that you can do, not just for yourself, but for the benefit of the rest of society. They don't know it yet, but they really need these things from you. First, they need for you to show up. Whatever it is that you want to do with your life, go ahead and do it. Don't let people tell you you're too old. Oh, you've always wanted to learn how to do gymnastics, so find someone who's willing to teach you. Take a gymnastics class. You're not too old for that. If you're physically able to do it and you're still alive, take a class. Go ahead. It's what you've always wanted to do. The second thing society really needs for you to do is to see. Life is made up of all of these beautiful but ordinary moments. And so often we're so busy looking at the highlights of our lives or the highlights of other people's lives as they present them on social media. And we miss all of those beautiful moments in our own lives and in the lives of the people around us. And we need to see those moments in ourselves, but the people around us also need us to see them and to see their beauty. And we can only do that if we actually pay attention. So pay attention to what's going on, those beautiful details in life. The third thing that you need and that the world needs from you, even though they might not realize it, is for you to be seen. Don't hide yourself. Don't withdraw from certain, say, social media platforms or certain special interest groups or certain fandoms or certain community groups or whatever, just because you feel like, oh, well, most of the people around here are a lot younger than me and they're not going to be able to relate to me. Believe it or not, at some point in time, those people in their 20s and 30s, if they're blessed like you've been blessed, are going to get to your age. And if they don't see now that someone your age is still able to live a vital and rich life, then when they get to that same age, they're going to think that, their life and their vitality is basically over too. You can change that by being seen doing those things that you enjoy. A couple of years ago, I was part of a fandom where most of the people who were also a part of the fandom are in their 20s. And I've always been very vocal and very proud about my age. But for about a year, maybe 2 years, while I was involved in that fandom, I was very, very quiet about just how old I am. I know that people can mistake me for being younger than I really am, not because of my behavior, but because of my look. As they say, black don't crack. A lot of people who know me just from my appearance wouldn't think that I'm 49 years old. And because I was ashamed of being seen as the old lady amongst a lot of these 20-somethings and liking the same things that these 20-somethings were liking, I was very quiet about my age. And about, I would say, a year and a half ago, I finally decided I had had enough of that. And it was perfectly okay for me to like what I like and for me to do what I want to do and for me to be vocal about being the age that I am. And I realized that it'll send a lot of younger people a message that I didn't get when I was their age. Most of the people when I was their age, most of the people who were the age that I am now, were not as carefree and as fun-loving. Circumstances were different in their lives. I mean, by the time my mom was my age, she had 3 children, 2 of them were grown, and she was raising my younger brother. So she had a lot of different responsibilities and concerns than the responsibilities and concerns that I have, as a woman who doesn't have children. So the examples that I saw when I was in my 20s were of women who really didn't have the opportunity to be as carefree and to be interested in things that would normally be associated with younger people because they had other stuff that they had to be concerned about. And so I grew up with this idea that by the time I got to that age, I wouldn't be able to have nearly as much fun. And I'm so glad that I was wrong. So by showing up, and by being seen, I'm letting other younger women know, hey, when you get to my age, your life is going to be just starting good. It's not going to be at the end of things. You're not going to be at the point where you really need to just back down and you're not vital anymore. When they get to be 49, they'll be able to say, oh, I saw Wanda Lotus, and she was involved in these different things, and she did her photography, and she was involved in this fandom, and, she loved herself, and she appreciated herself, and, if she can be vital and fun-loving like that at 49, then I can too, at 49 and beyond. These things are important to me, and after my conversation with Serena, I decided, you know what, I need to share that with other women. So most of the posts that you're going to be seeing on my social media from now on are going to be about those 3 pillars: to show up, to see, and to be seen. And social media allows me to share with you my way of doing those things. And hopefully in the future, I'll also be able to share with you the way other women over the age of 40 do those things as well. And hopefully we'll be able to inspire and encourage each other as we live full, rich, vital lives into our 40s and well beyond.